If you combine enchanting puzzles, magical potions, and cute mushroom creatures, you'll get The Last Alchemist, an alchemy simulation game about finding a cure for your terminal illness. Hello, Cozy Gamers, and welcome back to the Cozy Gaming Club, where we talk about all the latest and greatest cozy games. The Last Alchemist is a science fantasy infused crafting adventure about building a workshop and researching the forgotten art of alchemy. It launches today on PC, and I thought I'd try a new format showcasing the first week in the game to give you a taste of what to expect. Let me know what you think of the new format and of The Last Alchemist in the comments below. Now to the alchemist himself to introduce you to the game.
Long ago, I witnessed alchemy's immense potential as the most powerful science in the world. Back then, I was an apprentice to the world-renowned alchemist Sendivogius. Together, we made groundbreaking discoveries at the Old Star Observatory, a centuries-old castle built for the specific purpose of practicing alchemy. Our collaboration began when a mysterious plague devastated my village. The same plague that infected me as well. The disease didn't take my life, but it gradually consumed my strength. Despite our best efforts, we could not find a cure. All our grand accomplishments felt meaningless in the face of this failure. Disheartened, I abandoned Sendivogius to seek alternative healing methods, but my research proved futile as well. After years of continuous disappointment, I was on the verge of surrender. But then, my health rapidly declined. With time running out, I decided to give alchemy one more chance. Sadly, upon reaching the observatory, I discovered Sendivogius had passed away. But I can't give up. I will carry on as the Last Alchemist.
Ooh, the chills as they say the name of the game. I always love it when they do that. But on a whole, not a very light-hearted start to the game. But hopefully things will improve from here on out as we look for a cure. The first thing I realized was that this game doesn't support controller, which is a big shame to be honest because I usually only play on controller. But it'll become evident later on as to why that's the case. Anyway, we're straight into the observatory to start the tutorial, while also learning a bit more about the past of our character and our new home. Before long, we've stumbled across the magnifier, which provides us with more information about different resources, and the sickle, which can be used to harvest them. Then we discover our encyclopedia, which is a big book that's packed full of information about the different plants, alchemical essences, and items we can craft. While it doesn't seem like much right now, it will get very full later on. My next step was to harvest all of the wood shrooms and then build my first construction, a grinder. It's really neat that you can just autofill all of the materials required to build something if they're in your pockets. Not that I realized that here. But I was soon grinding up my green shroom cap to extract my first essence. Making essences is time consuming though. But thankfully the game thought of that and provided me with a meditation mat that can be used to rest, pass the time, and regain your energy, which I made use of here. With my freshly extracted essences in hand, I made my way to the fusion machine and added them in. Only to cause a horrible explosion. Whoops, maybe I'm not cut out for alchemy. And just like that, the tutorial is over and I'm now in the real game, where I wake up in a nice celestial themed bed in a completely different part of the observatory. I'm not really sure how I got here, but as I leave my room, at least I'm assuming it's my room, to go exploring, I'm stopped by the first of the mushroom creatures. They're really happy to see that I'm awake and explain that they're very, very real and that they saved me from the explosion. Also, this is apparently their home now, which is new to me. After they realized we're not going to eat them, they take us to meet the rest of their village. And there are so many different varieties of mushroom. They're all so cute, even if they are essentially a mob here to drive me out. Thankfully, Inoki was on my side, and after I quickly explained what I was doing here, we managed to convince the rest of them that I wasn't here to hurt them. They warmed up to me pretty quickly after that, and I soon discovered that they'd been hanging around the observatory to help me out with my research. It turns out that some of them are quite happy to help, like Hipalo, who loves designing tools. They just needed help building a forge after they blew up the last one, and really, who am I to judge after I just did the same thing a few hours ago? I offered to go gather some resources for them, and before long, we're setting out into the area around the observatory. There were so many different paths to explore that we couldn't explore right now, but that I assume we'll be able to unlock later on in the game. It's also cool to see that different resources respawn over time, and when you hover over them, it tells you how long they've got left until they respawn, which is a really nice touch. So I spent the next few in-game hours running around and collecting everything, which is when I realized that I also needed to scan them with my magnifier. So I quickly do that too. I do wish there was a way to automatically read all of the pop-ups though, as the little red icon was a bit distracting. But there were just so many different things to go through that I got bored really quickly. Eventually, I managed to find all of the mushrooms and the vines that I needed, but as I tried to collect the vines, I realized the worst thing. There's an inventory limit. Limited inventories and I do not get on because I just love to collect and hoard everything I could possibly need, but sadly I had no room for anything else. So I had to ditch a few items to make way for my vines, and then it was back to the observatory to Hipalo to drop off the items. Only for them to insult me by saying I look very pale. Come on, Hipalo! But they recommended that I see their friend Ray, who is very good at healing, although they warned me that they might be a bit nervous of me at first. Also, our name is apparently Alchemist. Is that like a Doctor Who thing? I'm the Alchemist. Anyway, I spotted the autofill this time, and while the forge was being built, I headed to meet Ray and immediately scared their cute friend into the bush. When I asked them about my illnesses, they said they couldn't help as they didn't know anything about human illnesses. But they did mention that there's a strange device up the stairs in the observatory that could help. There was a big boulder blocking the stairs that I'd have to break first, though. But I'm a master of blowing things up now, so that shouldn't be too hard. I ran inside to check it out and scanned it with my magnifier, which revealed that I needed something acidic to destroy it. I wasn't sure what that meant yet, but I was sure I'd find out soon. Back outside, and Tipalo's forge was finished and ready to use. They also offered to create some formulas for me that could be used to craft things, as long as I brought them the resources. Then it was back to Ray to say that I'd found the rock, but I wasn't sure how to break it. Fortunately, they had a solution for that. A sprayer that could be used to spread essences across the rock. While I couldn't have theirs, Apollo could build one for me, so I headed straight back over to them and dropped all the items I needed into the forge. Well, almost all of them. I just needed some planks from inside the storeroom first. While the sprayer was building, I decided to head back inside and start building the other constructions I needed. The grinder, the fusion machine, and the workshop. Fortunately, I had everything I needed on hand and was able to set them off to construct immediately, while I headed back outside to pick up my sprayer. The next task was to fuse the essences extracted from the leather cap and spectral vine, so I dropped the first one in my grinder and patiently waited. Which is when I fainted. What a way to end my first day. The next morning, I ran straight back to my workshop to collect my essences and start grinding my next item. It took me a little while because I didn't realize that the grinder created two essences, but before long I had my spectral vine grinding away. I also decided that it was time to build a meditation mat because your girl was sleepy after fainting at midnight, but that also needed some time to construct, so I just had to suffer for now. Before long, I had my spectral vine essence and I was able to combine the two to make an acidic element, and to have a little rest while I did it. The new mixture was neon green and I immediately went to try it on the rocks at the top of the stairs. It worked wonders and revealed the way to the telescope room, which looked incredible. The telescope were huge and there were spinning solar systems in the background and my master's research. Sadly, the telescope had also been damaged though, but that was nothing my good friend Apollo couldn't fix. Once again, they gave me a long list of items I needed to fix it, although I wasn't 100% sure on how to collect stones yet. After a quick run around in the wilds, I stumbled across some stone clusters that needed a weathering essence to break them. So many new concepts to wrap my head around. But I decided to keep exploring and found more plants that I hadn't discovered before and collected a few of each to take back with me. When I'd made my way back to the observatory, I decided to start on the paper, which seemed simple enough, except it wasn't. I needed something called a solvent, but when I looked that up in my encyclopedia, all it told me was that it was made up of 4 crimson and 5 jade essences. There was also a diagram of the essence, which I didn't immediately realize was useful. I was very confused and decided to just put one of my veined rocks in the grinder before calling it a day. The following day, I started by building some essence racks that, spoilers, won't be built by the end of this video because I completely forgot about them. Then it was back to the mystery of the solvent. As I wasn't certain how to make it, I decided to just start combining essences to see if I could make the total needed for the solvent. So I started by combining a 3 of crimson with a 2 of crimson, completely forgetting that I only needed 4 crimson. Prepare yourself for a lot of this. I got so confused trying to make all of these essences. Thankfully, I spotted my mistake before I merged my 2 essences together, and then it was back to the drawing board. My new plan was to turn one of my twigs into 2 crimson essences and then combine them to make a 4 of crimson. Then I set out on an exploration to see if there were any other resources I hadn't discovered yet that could be useful. But I didn't find anything. I was beyond confused and decided to look up jade essences in my encyclopedia, which is when I saw that an essence with 5 jade could be gathered from granite. So I decided to change tack and try to make this weathering property first to collect granite. For it, I needed 6 crimson and 4 jade, so I quickly started investigating all of my resources to see how I could make it. I decided that I could probably combine my 2 of crimson with a 4 of crimson to make 6, and set about doing that. Also, the ability to pin recipes to your encyclopedia is so useful. Big up the devs for adding that feature. Before long, I have my 2 essences and combine them to make a weathering essence. It looks a bit of a mess, but I was so proud of myself for figuring it out. I decided to wait until day 4 to use it though. Which was a mistake because I decided to take a break from the game, and when I came back the next day, I had completely forgotten everything I had been doing. The next morning, when I awoke, I went to my workshop and decided to make a weathering essence all over again, completely forgetting that I'd already done it. In my defense, it was already in the sprayer, so I didn't see it in my inventory. By midday, I'd remade it and headed out into the wilds to finally use it and collect my granite pieces. This part doesn't take me very long, and I'm soon back in the workshop with a pocket full of granite. I set about grinding one of them to be used in a solvent, and when it's finished, I immediately combine it with the 4 crimson essences I had on hand. And before long, I'd done it and made a beautiful purple solvent. Success! I added it to the workshop machine and made my paper, and then quickly followed with a stone block. Also, has anyone else noticed the cute mushroom creatures that are hammering away making my crafts at the workshop? Finally, I made my way to the telescope to complete its construction, only to discover that I needed 2 of each resource. Back to the workshop. Try as I might, I couldn't finish it by the end of the day, so I wasn't able to complete the telescope until day 5. But I was able to do that first thing the next morning. It turns out that the telescope is a cool research machine that shows you every possible combination for the essences you insert. Quickly, I start adding all of my essences, only to discover that it actually costs insight points to do this research, and I just spent all of mine. Whoops. I head to the corkboard next, which tells me that groom shrooms are the key ingredients for the cure, and my master had been getting them from a witch who lived near the watermill. It was time to work out how to get over there, so I headed outside the observatory to investigate, and came across some beautiful celestine rocks that I'd need an alkaline property to break. The essence looked a lot more complicated than the ones that I'd created previously, and needed 5 crimson and 8 jade. By now, I discovered so many different essences that I had an abundance of options when it came to making up the numbers. So I started by trying to combine two Jade 4s to make a Jade 8. One helpful thing about the alkaline essence was that it did have a diagram that I could use to try and discern which essences I needed. At first, I thought that this would make it very simple, but I was wrong. See, when I combined my two jade essences, they made a strange shape that didn't reflect the diagram of the alkaline essence. But I decided to persist in case the shapes would move around once combined with a crimson essence. They did not, but it was very close. So it was back to the drawing board. After a long day of combining essences and examining things in the telescope, I was no closer to working out the formula for an alkaline essence, and made my way to bed defeated. It seems impossible, but I made no progress on day 6 either. I tried so many different formulas, and none of them gave me the alkaline essence I needed. But I was determined that day 7 would be the day, and it was. Because on day 7, I realized that I had an element that was both jade and crimson. I had been so hung up on this diplomosophore that perfectly matched my diagram that I didn't even take a look at my other crimson elements. It took me the entire day, but I eventually noticed the red helperine. After a quick late night adventure to get some wood shroom stalks, it was back to the workshop to finally make this alkaline essence. Sadly, though, my day came to an end and I wasn't able to finish it in time. But I decided to do one more day as I'd messed around so much earlier this week. So on day 8, I woke up and made my alkaline essence. It worked exactly as I expected for a change, and I made my way straight to the Celestone to clear my way to the next area. Across the bridge, I found a new variety of mushroom, which also ended up being the last mushroom for my encyclopedia, a poisonous plant, some more strange rocks, and a troop of Agari bodybuilders working out in the quarry. I was sad that there wasn't much more here for me to discover, but it was time for me to start working on the next essence to clear up some sulfur. When I made it back to the observatory, I was stopped by Enoki. They were glad to have me living in the observatory with them and suggested that I enlist their help to make furniture. Apparently, they love making furniture and would like to make some with me. Unfortunately, though, they can't remember their furniture formulas. I'll have to whip up some perfume to help trigger their memories. The one good thing to come out of all my failures is that I had already accidentally made perfume. So I grabbed the recipe and all the essences I needed and started crafting it straight away. The perfume did the job, and after I gave it to Enoki, they remembered some beautiful pieces of furniture, like this celestial armchair and Agari table. Although they were too complex for me to make right now. Next step was back to the workshop to try and work out the recipe needed to make an oxidizing essence to destroy the sulfur deposits. As you can see, things were getting really complicated now. There were so many different essences to juggle, and so many different colours of essences as well. I was also quickly running out of space on my shelves. But I started combining all the different essences that I thought went well together, and luckily I was right first time. I was so shocked but so excited as I made my way back to the mines to collect the sulfur. Naturally, I tried to find the biggest clump of sulfur to make the most out of my spray, and then I collected as much as I could, only for my inventory to be full again. I decided to head back to the workshop and put some sulfur on to grind, before emptying half of my pockets onto the floor in the corner of the workshop. I wasn't sure if I would be able to get any of this back, but I had a feeling I'd need sulfur to make new essences, more than I'd need all this other stuff I had hanging around. However, that is the end of my first week and a day in The Last Alchemist, which ended with me fainting again because why not finish as I started? What a roller coaster, hey? What did you think of The Last Alchemist? As you can probably tell, I found some of the essence parts a little difficult, and every time I've thought I had it right, I did not. But I love the design for the Agari creatures, the art is amazing, and the overall plot is really intriguing. Let me know what you thought of The Last Alchemist in the comments, and don't forget to also let me know what you think of this new format. A week's overview is a lot quicker to put together than a 50 days overview, and it would mean I could cover even more of the new releases, because boy is there a lot of them. As always, thank you so much for watching this video and supporting my channel. It really does mean the world to me. And I hope to see you next video. Bye!